Hey folks, welcome back to Jerome Bee Farm and Homestead. It's Sunday, March 9th, 2025. It's a beautiful day out. It's 55 degrees, slight north wind, not much. We've had some cool weather come through, and yesterday I got 1.4 inches of rain here in Newcastle, Oklahoma. So it was a nice, long, slow soaking rain. So it all soaked into the ground. There was no runoff, and that's going to be really good for the nectar flow when the flowers start to bloom. The red buds I can see are not quite budding out, they're still closed, and that's when my signal to put on my honey supers is when the red buds bloom. And I also walk by all my fruit trees and I check them out, and I'll put some pictures of some of the blooms in here so you can see kind of where they're progressed. So the pear tree looks like it's the most emerged right now, and also the apricot on those. So with the bad weather, wasn't much I could do. I wasn't in the bees, and the nice day that we did have, life happened and I wasn't able to get down here. But so I've been working on frames. I have 70 frames that I have new foundation and waxed. So all that wax that I rendered last winter, I rolled that on here. And so this is an example of one of those. This is one that I reconditioned. So this was an old brood frame. I popped that out and put in a new plastic foundation there, right sill foundation, and put the wax coating on it, and put the year on there, 2025. So hopefully that'll get drawn out. And so I've got that, and let me show you something else that Hive Alive just sent me. So I do have a box of Hive Alive patties with me, and they also sent some of this Be Smart design trivet holder. What's it called? A trivet pollen patty holder. So you put this under your pollen patty and it holds it up off of the frames. The bees can get access from underneath as well as on the top and the sides. And I believe that helps them consume it faster. And if it's consumed faster, there's less chance of hive beetles getting in there and laying eggs. And the fact that it's exposed on all sides, it may help the bees defend it from small hive beetles getting on there, laying eggs, and it getting infested with the larvae. So I'm going to try these out, and so I do have a case of the Hive Alive pollen patties as well I'll be doing. I also have my sugar cakes with me that I made a couple videos ago, so they're nice and hard now, and they have the Hive Alive within them, so that'll stimulate the bees to consume this. I'm only going to put these on hives that I think that might need it. That smells good. So I'll only use it where it's needed. I'm not going to put sugar on everything because we don't need it. The hives that have plenty of weight to them, I'm not going to mess with them. Things you got to look out for this time of year is you may have a hive that's got a good population and you're thinking, man, this thing's great. It's strong and it's everything I need. But there may not be enough food in there, honey, for them to get through till the nectar flow. So that definitely did happen to me. It was 2023 springtime. Red buds had bloomed. I had put my supers on. Everything was going good. We had a lot of rain. And my hives were just borderline having any food in them at that time. But so the rain kept them from being able to gather nectar. And I had bees starving out. I had piles of bees in the bottom of my boxes that were just piles of dead bees. They starved to death. So I got out here as fast as I could, and I just poured liquid nectar into their comb and then just put it back in like that. I didn't use feeders. I just dumped stuff in there so they would survive, and that got them through. But yeah, it was not a good year. I didn't have as near good a honey harvest that year in 23, and then last year was a record harvest. So got things turned around. So something else I want to show you. I'm going to be using this today. So this is a hive tool holder. I bought this at the expo, and I actually bought two of them, and that's kind of a long story. If y'all have been following me and on my Facebook page, I went off and left my bag laying on the ground by the loading dock after I loaded all my stuff up. I stepped back and took a picture of the back of my little car, just crammed full, and I was tired, and I just got through with all that. I went and got in the car and drove off and left it. So it had one of these, it had another Apisola smoker, Had my Duck River hat and my Hive Alive hat, and there's a lot of other giveaway stuff in there that I had that I just went off and left it. It did get turned in. The nice lady turned it in, and I'm going to give her a reward as soon as I get it, because it got turned in, and I won't go through all the details, but I went to the wrong lost and found, and I was frustrated, and I needed to get out of there because of the snow was coming. So I was like, shoot, it's gone. So I went and bought me another Apisola smoker and another one of these, and the nice guy sold it to me at his cost, and there's a lot of work. He does this by hand. This isn't stamped out on some machine. So, and I don't remember the name of the company because the card that I had with it is in my bag. So anyway, Cayman Reynolds and Laurel, they've got my bag, and they're going to get it to me. They said they were, and I bug them about it every now and then, but I know they're busy people. So as a funny, you might put a comment on one of his videos, say, hey, send Jerome his bag. But anyway, yeah, I know they're really busy. But I send him a $30 super chat on one of his live streams too. I said, here's you some shipping money. So he's like, yeah, we're gonna get it. And that was 2 weeks ago. Anyway, so today I'm going to get in here and I'm going to start rotating my hives. So this time of year, the double brood box system, two deeps. The bees are going to be up in the top here in Oklahoma. Usually that's how they are. And I will rotate and move the brood box down to the bottom, and the bottom box is usually empty. So I put that on the top, and I will be swapping out the old frames that are really old, hard wax, look like chocolate. They're full of old cocoons from all the brood. I'll start culling those out and save those for next winter to swap out and put in new foundation on those. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. Going to be taking good notes, checking on my grafting candidates and make sure they're doing well. And I'll figure out which hives are the strongest, and that's going to be, one of those will be my cell builder that I do my grafting with. So man, that's coming up fast. So in April, I believe, is when I'm going to be doing it. When I see good drone population, that's when I'm going to do it. And it'll be when the nectar flow is starting sometime in April. So let's get in there, and we'll start on hive 1 and 2 down there and just work my way down. I don't know if I'll get all the way done today, but I'm going to get started because I'm way behind. Let's get going. Okay, here's hives 1 and 2 where we're going to get started. So I don't know if you notice, but I have the new number tags on there, the cow tags. I got those at Tractor Supply. Someone had left a comment last year saying Tractor Supply had some tags that were already numbered. So I got those and got them put on. When it was cold out, actually I did that. So I'm seeing pollen coming in right here. There's yellow. Not a lot. It's still kind of wet, so it may have slowed them down on the pollen a little bit. There went another one. There's one. Yeah, so I think this is going to be my first inspection in March. So you notice this top needs replaced. It's all rotted out here. So I'll put a different lid on this. I'll save this metal part and just put some new wood underneath it. Get my new smoker going, 3 pumps. And the 4th that should put out some fumes. There it goes. Looks like most of the bees are on my left side there. They've consumed most of their pollen patty. They seem a little grumpy. So before I do anything, I want to see how much, if there's any bees in the bottom box, if there's any brood down there. Because you don't want to, if you got brood down in the bottom, you don't want to split your brood up by doing that with the boxes. If there's just 1 or 2 down there, you can pull those brood frames and bring them up and put it in with this and center this up. So let's look at the bottom. and that's got some decent weight to it, which tells me they've got food. So I've got bees down here, but I want to see what's going on. It's chilly out, so the propolis is going to hold on tight. So don't yank your frames around hard because you'll pull them apart or break them. If you bought frames that are fully assembled before, sometimes they don't get a lot of glue on them and they'll pop right apart. So this is an empty frame. Well, I was thinking I was gonna just come over here and slide them all down at once, but as cold as it is, they're not gonna move that easy, so I'll do 2 at a time. So it's also a good time to clean up your bottom board in the springtime. Golly. So something else new that I'm using is, I got from Terry this clear, I think it's probably Lexan lens, and so you can see through it, and trying that out. So this is a new Guardian veil that you can buy that has this lens built into it, and I don't think they're on the site yet. I think it's a really new product. So far I'm liking it a lot. A little bit of honey right there. That's it. I see pollen walking around on here. So again, I'm looking for brood. There's pollen. So you usually see brood right next to the pollen. Looks like they're not going to have much brood, if any. Yeah, no brood, just a little bit of that yellow pollen. You can see them storing it there. So I will take these 2 pollen frames here and I'll put them up top, because this is going to be the new top, and it'll be close. I'll put it close to the brood. Again, just more pollen. Well, that's pretty. I don't know if you can see that or not. And that outside one is empty. So I'm going to take this off, clean the bottom board, and then we'll do our rotation. So I'm going to leave the entrance reducer on, because it's still going to be a little chilly out a few more days. All that white is paper from the pollen patty. These are just little crumblies from them keeping the hive cleaned out. Put that reducer back where they're used to it being, on that side. Then we'll put our one that used to be the top here on the bottom. So I'm going to take a couple frames out of here. This is a good waxed frame, looks like it's still good. So I will put that on the top. This one doesn't have a year marking on it. It's pretty dark, so that's going to be one I'm going to cull. This one too. In fact, I'm going to leave this good one here. I want to see how much brood we've got. Then we'll center this thing up, get them off the side. So we've got liquid and capped and eggs. So right in there, that's all filled with eggs. Oh, there's the queen. I was looking for her there and I didn't see her. She's light colored, so she's got a lot of that Italian in her. So let's don't disturb her. Plus you don't want to leave that open larva out in the cooler air very long if you can help it. All right, let's scoot them over a little bit. So they got plenty of food. That pollen patty's helping them to, plus the pollen that's coming in with the brood rearing. Let's see what's on this outside frame. That side's empty. This side's full of pollen. So I'll put that other pollen frame right here. So this is the frame that was the bottom. So it's got pollen all right here. So I'll give them that there. It's a little too early to be manipulating the brood chamber by opening it up and putting a blank frame in between them. With these colder nights, you want enough bees to be on there to cover all the brood and keep it warm. So you don't want to be spreading them out. So I'm going to put this on the edge right here. It's dark, but it's not real bad. So I'm going to go ahead and not cull this one. And they can use this to put honey in out here on the edge, or pollen if they want. So all the brood's going to be right here. Get as much of this propolis off as we can. The guide Apisolus said don't do short strokes on this, do long like that. I'm just going to leave that existing pollen patty right there like that, and I'll put a new one on top. So most of the bees are right here on these 3 frames, so I'll probably just leave those alone. Let's see, I want the pollen to the edges of, I want the pollen up here to line up with the pollen below. These are basically empty because I took the 2 that had some in them and they're down below now. There's a little bit of pollen there, so I'll put that on the 3rd frame in. I won't cull that frame because it's got pollen in it and it's 2022, so it's not all that old. This is a 23 frame. Doesn't look bad. It could use some wax here. I don't have any with me. Well, I do, it's up there in the cart, but I'm gonna be lazy. So I'll grab that wax when I go up there because some of these I'm gonna cull. This one doesn't have a year on it, and it's really dark. So you want to cull these out every 5 years or so because it gets really hard. The bees, the cells get smaller, and as the bees use it, they're bringing stuff in, and this could have residual pesticides and things in it that they've picked up wherever they're foraging. So you want to get that out of there over time. So there's 3 cull frames so far out of here. This is a 2020. I'll go 1 more year on this one. This one doesn't have a year marked on it, but it's pretty light colored, so it hadn't had a lot of brood in it. So I'm going to keep that one. And this one doesn't have a year, but it's light colored as well, so we'll go with that. I'm going to move these over, and I'll put my new frames right here. All right, here's our 3 frames. You can see with fresh wax on them. Mark 2025. Although these are old frames, this is their 2nd time around. Maybe 3rd, but probably 2nd. Actually, those are a different style of frame. These are ones I got from my uncle's stuff because there's dirt on them from the dirt daubers. Okay, so I'm going to try this trivet, see how this works. That way it lines up. This way, not so much. So it must be designed to go like that. I haven't seen anyone else use these. So I've got a half a patty here. I'll go ahead and put it on there just like that. And I'll have to have a shim for that because that made it taller. So let me go grab a shim. So here's my shim, and also brought a little sugar cake just to kind of demonstrate it for the sake of the video. They don't need this, but they should be fine without it. Also, I forgot my frame that needed some wax crayon on it. See if I can figure out which one it is. There it is. So let me show you how I do this. So this is just some beeswax. I have 1 ounce bars, and I also made some of these with toilet paper rolls. It's a little bit bigger. And it works better when it's warmer out, but this is doing okay. And it's better to have like the 1 ounce stick instead of this when you're trying to get in these tight spaces. But this will help those bees to start drawing this out. See that wax there? Another thing you can do in addition to this is if you got a hot air gun, hit it with that hot air gun and let it kind of melt onto the frame of the foundation. This here's so small. Another thing you can do is heat this stick up a little bit with your hot air gun, and it'll flow in there real easy. So when your nectar flow stops in the summertime, say it's late June going in July, they won't draw this out anymore, and then any wax that's there, they'll pull it off and go use it somewhere else. Unless you feed it real heavy with some sugar water, and they will go ahead and keep drawing those out. But that's why they do that. They run out of nectar to make wax with. Another thing you can do is clean all your propolis off your frame rests, because it builds up down in there. An easier way to do that is have you a new box, a clean box that's already been scraped, and just swap your frames into that and put that on here. So I learned that trick from Dave Rowden. It will save you a lot of time. This one's not so bad, so I'm not too worried about it. Maybe it's that Italian bee genetic. They don't do a lot of propolis. I'll put it back here. So these sugar blocks, you could just set them on here. You can put a piece of paper under it, whatever you want to do. Nancy Knowlton left a comment saying she just puts hers right on there, which I've done that too, but sometimes they will, you'll find a lot of sugar on your bottom board or coming out the front entrance because they don't want it in there. Once the nectar flow starts, they won't mess with this. Not much anyway. They see that as a foreign object when the nectar flow starts and it's flowing good. So this is the shim I made by cutting down a deep box. You can get 4 of these per deep. You can see where the handholds were. And don't forget about these on here. When the nectar flow starts, you want this shim out of here because they will fill this up with comb. And then you got a mess and a bunch of wasted honey. We don't want to do that. I'm gonna go get a different lid for this. Okay, so hive number 1 looks great. They're building up. Queen's laying. She's last year's queen. She's got a lot of Italian genetics in her. Going into winter, this top box was almost full of honey. I pulled 3 or 4 frames out of here and donated that honey to other hives, and they've still got plenty, so they're doing good. I like what I see. Got them rotated. Got some fresh frames up here for them to build out new comb when the flow starts. So yeah, she is going to be this hive 1 is one of my grafting candidates. So I like what I see there. Got this plastic lid on there. Be sure you have a weight on these. I did lose one in that storm that came through. So I'll put a picture of that here. I drove by my hives the next morning and I didn't notice that blown off, but also it rained 1.4 inches of rain right down in that top hole from the inner cover. So the inner cover was still there, but this was off. So they had that inner cover propolized down good. So it didn't seem to bother them at all. They're flying around like nothing ever happened. So that's going to be the end of the video. Please give me a thumbs up. Helps my videos, other people see them. And please subscribe on your way out if you haven't. I hit 13,000 a couple weeks ago. I appreciate all the new subscribers, showing you all the new stuff. So got my Aposolus smoker I've been demonstrating, and got the belt clip going, and this lens hair on the Guardian bee jacket. I like this a lot. I can really see way better than I could before. Only thing, maybe in the hot summer, I'm curious to see how much airflow it stops, but I do have my little fans that I put in here, right, to keep me cool. So probably won't be any difference at all. So that's the end of the video, and we'll catch you all on the next beekeeping video. Y'all take care.